Okay, hi everybody. My name is Elise Bourne and I am a graduate student at the University of Utah. I go to school in the Department of Health Kinesiology and Recreation, and my degree is in kinesiology with an emphasis in cognitive and motor neuroscience. That's a lot of words to say that I study concussions right now. That's what we mainly focus on in my lab. So yeah, I'm in a master's program. So I finished college and now I'm in my master's program. So this is like after college, college. I was at Hillcrest in the fall twice to give two sets of presentations to some of your peers. But since we're not in school right now, we're doing recorded presentations. So you're going to get a very similar presentation just recorded here. And I think that your teachers are going to have assignments for you to complete based on this presentation. So first of all, if you have any questions about this presentation, usually I'm really excited about like engaging you and I have candy and ask questions during class and stuff. But since we don't have that, if you have any questions for me, your teachers can provide my email. And if you need that, you can totally use that. So it's just elise.bourne@utah.edu. I'll send it to your professors. But yeah, so if you have any questions, you can send me an email. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, hopefully we're sharing, yes, and we're just gonna get this presentation up here. Okay, awesome. So this is spring 2020, this is wrong, but here we go. Okay, so we're gonna talk about prescription drugs in this presentation. So I have a statistic here for you, and it's that 4 out of 5 heroin users had previously used painkillers. So what I want you to gain out of this statistic is that heroin, which is like a very hard drug, is not being used by people immediately. That's not the first thing that people are going to use. Instead, they're using other drugs as gateway drugs. And a lot of the time, this is painkillers. In Utah specifically, we have a big epidemic of overuse and misuse of painkillers and prescription drugs when they shouldn't be used. So we're going to talk about that a good amount today. If you see me looking to the side, I've got my iPad with notes, so that's what that is. Okay, so in the media, I'm sure you guys have heard of a lot of people who have died of prescription medicine overdoses. So some people that I can think of is like Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, Elvis Presley. Maybe you can think of some other people in the media who have been affected or talk about doing drugs a lot, but these are some people that I can think of who have died. Mac Miller more recently. So we know of even more people who have become addicted. And, you know, we hear about this through music. We hear about this on TV. A lot of people, you know, sing about drugs in their songs, and it's pretty nonchalant, like not a big deal, just that's their normal and stuff. But I don't know. I think that a lot of us don't realize that it's like so ingrained in our minds from music and TV and stuff that maybe you don't even know off the top of your head who could be. Oh, I have a pointer on here. Yeah, okay, awesome. Who had become addicted or who had died. Hopefully you can see this little pointer. Okay, moving on. So here are some statistics for you. More people die every year of prescription drug overdose than in car accidents, which is pretty crazy. In the year 2000, this is in Utah specifically, there were 56 deaths from drug use, abuse, and misuse. In 2009, we went up to 265 deaths, so we increased that by over 200. In 2013, we have to start talking about them by month, 21 by month. In 2015, 24 per month. And in 2017, we were at about 20 per month. It actually went down a little bit. But something interesting that I want to share with you guys is that the average age at overdose. So usually I would like ask you guys what you think. So in your head, think about what you think it is, make a little prediction, what you think the average age at overdose would be. Okay, go ahead, predict it. So it is about 40 years old. So in my classes, a lot of people were surprised by this statistic. And I think it's because we think about young people using drugs more than we think about older people using drugs. But the reason that this is happening at about 40 is because people are starting to use drugs earlier, and then it's really, really becoming a problem as they get a little bit older. Also, 40, think about what's happening when you're 40. Okay, maybe you have a family, you're definitely working full time, like you're not in school anymore, you know, you're thinking about your career, you've got lots to think about. If you have a family, you're thinking about all the stuff that your kids need from you. You have a house payment, a car payment, you're trying to get to work, all these things, right? So a lot of people are going to go through like a midlife crisis at this age, maybe a little bit older too. So that is why we see a lot of people at this age really suffering from overdoses and dying from overdoses. Okay, so what is a prescription pain pill? So some common types that you might hear about, you've probably heard about these on TV or in the movies or even in music. Vicodin, oxycodone, Oxycontin, Percocet, hydrocodone, morphine. There's many more, but these are just some common ones that we hear about. So what are they used for? Why would you be prescribed a prescription pain pill? Okay, maybe you were in a car accident and you broke your hip. Maybe you fell off a skateboard and you broke your leg. Maybe you had to have surgery and you were recovering and there was going to be a lot of pain. So prescription pain medicine is prescribed for any or other things, any reason that you would go to the emergency room, have a surgery, any of these things where you would, you know, be recovering and be in a lot of pain. So it's going to help you not be in as much pain when you're prescribed a prescription pain pill. So prescription pain medicine, it's important to know that they are different from over-the-counter drugs. So over-the-counter medicine can still be pain reducers like ibuprofen or Tylenol, acetaminophen, ibuprofen or acetaminophen, that's Advil and Tylenol. So these are also pain reducers. They're just not going to be as strong as the ones that we talked about before. So the ones that we talked about before are oftentimes similar types of medicine, just in higher concentration or mixed with other things. So it is different, over-the-counter medicine and over-the-counter pain medicine versus prescription pain medicine. So this point is just to say that a lot of the time prescription medicine has some of the same things that like we're seeing in street drugs. The issue with street drugs is that you can never guarantee what's in it. Even if someone says that they're selling you morphine, you don't know if it's laced with anything else. You don't know where it came from. Most importantly, prescription pain medicine is tailored to you at that time, in that place, in that scenario, like the who, what, when, where, why. That's what a doctor will prescribe you. So if you were a doctor and I came into your office, you would need to know like about me, who I was, so that I'm 24 years old, I'm a female, how tall I am, how much I weigh. All this stuff is going to go into what you're going to need to prescribe me for. You're going to need to know about my injury, like how much pain medicine am I going to need over what course of time, when I was injured, you know, where I'm hurting. All of these things are going to go into your decision in terms of just prescribing me a pain pill or not prescribing me a pain pill, or how much of a pain pill or what type of pain pill you're going to prescribe to someone. So it's tailored to you. Sure, you know, like your friend could be on morphine from a skateboard injury and your dad could be on morphine from a, I don't know, shoulder surgery, but it is not going to be the same amount. It's not going to be in the same concentration, all of these things. Okay, so here we have a picture of a bunch of commonly abused pharmaceutical drugs. And what I want you guys to understand here is like, how many small white circular pills do we see? A lot. How many small yellow circular pills do we see? Many. Even in terms of like orangish pills or pills that are half one color, half the other color, right? So what's important to recognize here is that some of these, like here, hydromorphone and hydromorphone, they look exactly the same, but one is coming in a 2 milligram dose and one is coming in a 4 milligram dose. So if you had these in unlabeled bottles, you wouldn't know which one was which. And like we were talking about earlier, a pharmaceutical drug is prescribed to you for you at that given time. It's not prescribed for you in a year. It's not prescribed for your friend right now. It's not prescribed even for you like a month from now. It's prescribed for your injury, illness, condition at that time in your life right now. And that's why you're supposed to take it when it's prescribed for the time that it was prescribed for. So this means that if you, let's see, where do we, okay, Percocets right here. They're looking almost identical. All three of these Percocets, they're just like slightly different colors, right? So if, oh, sorry, we have Percocet and Percodan, okay? Percodan right here and Percocet on the far left. So this means if for an injury, two people were prescribed different amounts of Percodan, 1 225 and 145 milligrams, it would not be a good idea for, you know, maybe if you both were recovering from a similar injury, you both were prescribed the same medicine and you forgot yours somewhere and your friend happened to have theirs, not a good idea to take their medicine because you don't know if it's in the same dose. Also, you might be supposed to take it, maybe you're supposed to take it at different times. Maybe one of you is supposed to take it with food and one of you is not supposed to take it with food. There's so many different reasons behind why it's not a good idea to be sharing your medicine, even if you think it's the same thing. This also goes for things that aren't like Percocet, hard drugs. Like if you have asthma and your friend has asthma, the medicine in the inhaler is likely not going to be the same medicine, right? So you're not a great idea to be like, oh, you have asthma, I have asthma, let me just borrow your inhaler, right? It's not a good idea to be sharing medicine with people, even if you're at school and you need some Advil or something like that. Probably not a great idea to be taking it from somebody else because you don't know, where it came from. You don't necessarily know it's Advil, all this stuff, right? It's a better idea to bring it from home, have a parent bring it for you if you really need it, go to the office, go to the nurse's office, right? There are lots of better options than taking it from someone else. Sorry, my cat is over here trying to take my pen. Okay, so let's talk about legal implications if you are sharing prescriptions. So sharing or even possessing prescriptions without a prescription that is tied to you can lead to, in Utah, a felony for up to 6 years in prison. So that's pretty crazy stuff if you're found sharing prescriptions that either are yours or even sharing prescriptions that aren't yours with someone who's not supposed to be prescribed them. Or if you have a prescription without a prescription that says, hey, this is for Elise Bourne. It was prescribed at this time, right? So it has to be for you. Otherwise, you can have that felony. With that felony, you can have restrictions on your civil rights. You might not be able to serve on a jury. You can lose your right to vote. You can't practice certain professions like law. Oftentimes they won't let you be a teacher or a doctor. You can be prohibited from owning guns or serving in the military. So felony can lead to lots of not great stuff. So we obviously want to stay away from those, yeah? Okay, we'll go into some true or false questions. So, oh, I'm on the wrong slide maybe. Oh no, I'm not. Okay, prescription drugs provide a medically safe high, true or false? It's gonna be false, okay? A lot of prescription drugs, when the pharmacist talks to you, when they're given to you and the pharmacist talks to you about what's going to happen when you take this medicine, oftentimes it can alter your physical or mental state with different prescription drugs, which is why you'll be asked maybe not to drive or operate heavy machinery. Some medicine is even going to say, like, you just want to stay in bed when you take this, like, don't even go outside and go for a walk or something, right? So it's not going to be medically safe at all. Yeah, that's why oftentimes when you're given high doses of prescription medicine, it's happening in a hospital after you're recovering from a surgery or in an emergency room. I feel like you guys are going to know the answer to this one already. There's nothing wrong with using pills for fun once in a while. Not a good idea to use them at all, friends. Like we talked about earlier, you never know what amount you're taking. You never know how it's going to react with your body. You never know if that prescription was meant for a 300-pound football player and you are a 100-pound teenage kid, right? Not going to affect your body the same. So it's not a for fun thing, because one wrong dose could literally end your life immediately, which is very scary to think. So we want to stick to the medicine that we are prescribed at that time only. And even then, you guys probably aren't going to be prescribed prescription drugs if you're, taking care of your bodies and not getting into, like huge accidents or anything. So I hope that none of you are getting into huge accidents. And my cat is running around the house again. Okay. If she comes up, I'll show her in the video. Okay, prescription pain pills have fewer side effects than illegal drugs. This is not true. They both can have big side effects like we talked about earlier. Illegal drugs oftentimes have some of the same things that prescription pain pills have, but in different quantities, or they're laced with other stuff, or they're diluted by something, okay? Prescription medicines are addictive. This is true. That is why you're prescribed them for only a certain amount of time, because doctors don't want you to get addicted to them. And even now in Utah, we are less and less prescribing prescription medicines that can be addictive, because we know that there's a big crisis in the state. They are not safer than street drugs. Both of them are dangerous in their own rights, okay? Street drugs are going to have other stuff in them, most likely, and prescription pain medicine, if you're not taking your own, is not going to be tailored for you. So they're dangerous for different reasons, okay? Okay, next. Okay, so I have a story here on my iPad. Okay, so this is like a local story that the person who gave this presentation before me passed on to me. So there was a man in West Valley who had a shoulder surgery, and he was prescribed Vicodin, which is not a weird thing. That's pretty common after a big shoulder surgery. So the guy took it properly. He recovered from his surgery, took it for the amount of time that he needed to, based on what his doctor asked. A year after his surgery, he had a sore shoulder, so he decided to take one pill that was left over before going to sleep, and he didn't wake up the next morning. He died in his sleep, which is horrible. So what might have happened? I don't know if this is going to be part of your assignment, but maybe you can pause this video and jot down a couple ideas of what you think might have happened. So some potential answers. We don't, have the toxicology report. We don't know exactly what happened, but some potential thoughts could be that the pills were expired. Like we were saying earlier, they're prescribed for you for your condition at that time, right? They don't have long shelf lives. When a pill passes its shelf life, whether that's Aleve over the counter, or Zyrtec over the counter, or like a prescription pain medicine like Vicodin, it doesn't have the same chemical property anymore. The chemical properties change when it passes its best by date. Sometimes that means it's just not as effective, which is going to be probably like Zyrtec and stuff like that, which is not going to help your allergies as much, right? But in terms of Vicodin, the chemical properties of the medicine can change completely so that it doesn't affect your body in the same way as before. So another option could be the body was just not used to pills. His body wasn't used to medicine in that high of a dose. Probably right after his shoulder surgery, he was given this medicine in small doses leading up to the dose that he was going to have at home. And then when he took that bigger dose at home, it affected him differently than it had before. So another answer is that your body absolutely will change over the course of a year, especially as a teenager, right? So you can grow height, right? Your height can change, your muscle mass can change, your fat mass can change, your weight can change. All of these things are going to affect what kind of a prescription and the amount of a prescription that a doctor is going to prescribe you, like we talked about earlier. So especially for teenagers, your bodies are changing, especially with hormones all the time, right? Everything's changing a lot. So it's especially a bad idea as teenagers. It's a bad idea for anyone, but especially for teenagers to take the medicine when, it's not for you at that time, right? So apparently there was a report from what actually happened to this guy. So any of these things could have happened. But what actually happened from the medical examiner was that he developed a stomach condition and had stomach ulcers. So had he gone to a doctor and say, hey, you know, my shoulder's hurting again, the doctor would have given him a full checkout and would have found out about those stomach ulcers before prescribing him the same medicine, right? So this medicine irritated his stomach and it caused him to throw up and choke on his own vomit in the middle of the night. So that is how he died, which is pretty scary. So again, lots of reasons why it was not a good idea for him to take that pill, but yeah, lots of reasons why it could have hurt him. So, but then there was the final answer of what actually happened. Okay, so this is an X-ray from a friend of a friend. It was this woman's husband's leg. This is his leg right here, and it was broken. As you can see, this bone is broken right here. It should be lined up right along there, and it's not. Yeah, and then there's a piece of bone coming off here as well. So this guy broke his leg after going to the hospital, being in and out of the hospital a lot. They were asking a neighbor to take care of their dog, and this neighbor would come over, you know, feed the dog, walk the dog, and take like one pain pill from his stash. She found his stash because it was just sitting out. Yeah. So oh, it says next slide, and there's not a next slide. Oops. So this lady was stealing this oxycodone from this guy for his surgery, and she had to go to into the hospital after a while because she was like super adversely affected by this medicine. It was like really messing with her. She got super sick, and so she got a felony charge, and she had to have a bunch of medical treatment for taking the wrong medication. Okay, so this is just an example of what oxycodone specifically does to your body. So it does not heal the source of the pain. Instead, it blocks the receptors of pain so that you're not feeling as much pain. It's still happening. The pain reception is still happening, but oxycodone specifically blocks that knowledge of pain in your body. So different prescription medicines work differently. So with oxycodone, something that you would want to be aware of is this is definitely a medicine that you're not going to want to go out and do lots of activities on because, you know, maybe there's something going wrong in your body, or maybe there's, you know, you got into an accident or something and you're not aware of it because your body is not able to feel the pain. Yeah, so that's a big danger there. Okay, this was a video. I can't show videos on this presentation, so we're not going to watch it. Okay, so things that you personally can do. There's a lot you can do. I know you probably are like, oh, you know, I'm just in high school. Like, there's not a lot I can do. There is stuff that you can do. So these drop boxes are found at some drugstores, like Walgreens sometimes. They're found at hospitals, and they're found at police stations. So this is where you can take your prescription drugs that you have finished using, or that you like bottles that you finished or drugs that you haven't finished. You want to dispose of them safely here so they don't get into the hands of someone who shouldn't have them. Yes. And then, yeah, that is the big takeaway there. Okay, so hopefully you guys are never in a situation where you are with someone who's overdosing from drugs, but just in case, it's good to understand the signs of overdose, okay? So it's going to be confusion, hallucinations, pinpoint or dilated pupils, that's super, super small pupils or really, really big pupils, seizures and body tremors, blue lips or fingers, slow breathing, snoring sound when breathing, maybe not breathing, a very fast, very slow or absent pulse, and unconsciousness. So obviously, just one of these or two of these is not going to mean someone's overdosing. Like maybe someone, you know, they have a fast pulse because they just walked up a bunch of stairs, and maybe they also, you know, I don't know, have dilated pupils because they didn't wear their glasses that day, right? Doesn't mean that they're having an overdose. If we're seeing a lot of these at once, it does mean that a person could be an overdose, in which case the first thing that you need to do, absolutely, the first thing you need to do is call 911. I don't care if it's like your best friend and you're like, oh, I should call their parent first. No, So their parent does need to know, yes, but you need to call the police first because the ambulance will come and the ambulance can save their life. And then you can call other people to let them know what's going on. You need to stay with the person until help arrives. Don't let them go anywhere. Do not allow them to just like take a nap, sleep it off. No, you want to try to keep them conscious if you can. Do not put them in a bath or a shower. Do not leave them alone, and do not give them any food or water. That's not on here, but you don't want to give them any food or water. That is going to be the decision of, the medical team. If they need surgery, if they need their stomach pumped, right, it's not going to be a good idea to give them food if they're going to need to do surgery soon after. Okay, so to recap all of this, we need to be disposing of our drugs safely. If you have any of them, you're done with them, dispose of them in those boxes found at police stations, hospitals, and some drugstores. Safe storage. Do not keep your drugs out where someone else can come find them. Bad idea. Safe use. Only use as directed for you at that time in that situation. And safe source. Drugs are only safe when they're coming from a pharmacy, from a pharmacist, Walgreens pharmacy, CVS, Smith's, whatever pharmacy, the pharmacy, your doctor's office. That safe source is coming from your pharmacy. Your pharmacist is overseeing it all. Not safe sources on the streets, from a friend, from a sister's, brother's, cousin's girlfriend, whatever. You need to be getting them from your pharmacy as prescribed by your physician. That's the only way it's going to be safe. Okay, guys, so that's my whole presentation for you. Again, if you have any questions for me, we will have my email linked. You can send me an email. I hope you're having a good semester. I know it's at home, which is a little crazy, but I hope it's going okay, and I hope that you got something out of this presentation. So I will see you in the next presentation on communicable diseases, but I hope you have a great day and study hard. Okay, bye.